Morning, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School. What I wanted to do today was I wanted to do a little bit of review on a couple of new Bluetti products that are coming to the market. And we use Bluetti charging devices out here at the Pathfinder School. We also use a couple other brands, kind of testing them back and forth to see what lasts and what works out for us, because we use them quite a bit for not only powering 110 devices, but also 12-volt devices, charging phones, charging cameras, running LED light strings and things like that out here at the classroom, because we don't have any power down here. So we use these for all the power that we need. Now, one thing I will tell you, full disclosure, I've done videos on other brands of chargers in the past. And the one so far that's lasted the longest, that's given us the least amount of problems, is Bluetti. So, full disclosure on that. The next thing I'll disclose to you is that I am not in any kind of affiliate program with Bluetti. So any discounts that I advertise on this video in the description box or links are direct for you, discounts for you. I'm not getting anything out of that. I don't want anything out of that. They sent me the product to review. That's enough. I'm not getting paid or any other thing like that. I'm reviewing the product as honestly as I can for you, knowing that they did give it to me, so full disclosure there. But so far I've found that Bluetti seems to be pretty strong in the durability department. Now, this setup kind of excited me because it's a two-piece setup, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. So you actually have one battery that's smaller that you can carry with you if you don't want to carry a large unit with you. But what I want to talk about first was kind of what came in this package, or what comes in this package as I got it. Talk a little bit about the solar panel that I got separate from it to charge this stuff on the fly out here at the school, and then kind of walk through each one of these devices with you and the app for your iPhone that you can control this charging unit from, and also get updates on where it's at as far as charging and things like that go, and control eco mode and things like that from your phone. And you can also check the battery limit level of the add-on device or the battery pack as well with that app. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So let's get started. All right, so first of all, this is the AC60 and B80 combo. And you can see they will stack on top of each other if that's what you choose to do. They have nice heavy-duty carrying handles on them, which I really like, that fold down. And it is a fairly heavy unit for sure. If you've got conveyance, it's not a problem to carry it around. We carry it to mobile camps, things like that out here at the school with no problem. But it keeps us from having to carry a larger unit when we only need to charge things like cell phones with this smaller bank. We'll talk about that in a few minutes as well. However, the things that come with this, you get two manuals. You get one for the portable power station B80, one for the AC60 portable power station. You have several cables that come with this kit standard when you buy it. You get a 12-volt charging cable. You get a 110 outlet cable that you can use to plug into your house to charge the unit. You get a solar cable that has the 12-volt banana plug on it for the unit. You do not get the solar panels with this package. And you have a pigtail that goes between the two battery banks. So let's walk through this a little bit at a time. We'll talk about the different aspects of each unit. We'll talk about the power of each unit. And then we'll kind of go from there, and we'll talk about what I've ran off this unit, and we'll set the solar panel up and see how it actually does here at the school. Okay, so let's kind of talk about this AC60 first. It is a 600 watt unit. Output may be a little less than that. It depends probably. You have two 120 outlets on the front, 3-prong. You have a 12-volt outlet on the front. And you have a USB-C 100 watt and two USB-A 5-volt DC 3 amp on the front end as well. You have a power switch that turns it on. It's got a nice display on it that shows you where you're at, input, output wise, shows you what your battery's at right now, and shows you whether you're in econo mode or not, and also shows you that the Bluetooth is on for the app for the phone. It's in DC mode right now, which is indicated here. If I change it over to AC there, DC, AC both on, or one or the other, depending on what I've got plugged into the front of this, okay? Now, on the top of this, one of the things I like is it has a wireless charging for a cell phone. I find that cell phones don't work well on top of these things if they're in a case. Most of us carry our cell phones in a case. My cell phone does not charge very well on top of this. If it's in a case, I have to plug it in. However, a couple of my other instructors have pretty good luck with it. So it may just be my case. On one side of this, you have the plug-in for your 120 charging if you're charging it at home off electricity. You have a 12-volt charging unit here. You have a fuse and a ground. On the opposite side, you have 2 battery extension ports, and that's where this pigtail comes in if you're plugging external batteries into this, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. We'll plug this into the battery with this pigtail. Now, one thing I did neglect to tell you is this 12-volt over here is the spot where you plug in your solar panels as well. So you can use that for 12-volt charging of your solar panels. And it's just a 12-volt banana plug that fits in there. On the back side, you do have a light that has multiple settings. See if I can get that dude to come on here. Hold down to put it on. It's got a flash mode and off. So it's got 2 brightness settings, a flash mode and off. Okay, so that kind of gives you a peripheral view of this AC60 as well as the screen itself. We'll talk more about that screen here in a few minutes when we're looking at charging and things like that. So let's move on to the B80, which is the battery backup unit for this. Okay, so let's talk about this B80 for a minute, which is basically an extendable battery for the AC60, or it can be a standalone battery if you're using it for non-AC items. So you've got a 12-volt here on the front. You've got a USB-C 100 watt, a USB-A 18 watt, and you have a light indicator here that tells you what charge the battery's at. 20% is the first light, up to 100%. And you have a 12-volt input here that you can plug a solar panel directly into. So you don't have to pigtail this necessarily if you don't want to. You could just charge this as standalone with the solar panel. You're just not going to get as much information as you get on the screen because all you have is these lights. Okay, so this is kind of just a plain Jane battery pack that you can carry with you for your peripheral devices like cell phones, drones, cameras, that type thing. And it also has a 12-volt here as well. So if you've got small 12-volt appliances or units, you could run them off this unit. Again, you can charge it directly from a solar panel, or you can pigtail it in on this side to the bigger unit and charge it from a solar panel hook to the larger unit in tandem, if that's what you choose to do. And we'll look at that on the Bluetti app in a few minutes. Okay, so let's have a look at this pigtail port, because I found this to be a little bit finicky, but maybe that's just me. But when you put that on there, you push it down and it clips, and then it unclips, but it will only go on one way. You try to put it in upside down like this, it doesn't go. So it only has a one-way in. You push down until it clicks, and then you just twist the collar to pull it out. It's pretty simple once you get used to using it. And we run this from here to the AC60, and that will pigtail the units together. So here's our units pigtailed together and stacked. What we're going to do is we're going to plug a solar panel into this. So we're going to take our solar panel cord and we're going to put it on the 12-volt input on the bottom bank, so that will charge both as long as it's pigtailed together. And then we're going to throw a solar panel out here in the sun, a new Bluetti solar panel, see what we get. Okay, now I wasn't really asked to do a review on this solar panel. However, there's a couple really cool features on this that I wanted to show you. First of all, it's kind of suitcase fashion. And so you have the main cable that's connected to it here. That plugs into the cable that goes to the unit. And it stores inside a pouch. Pretty standard. It's got clips that hold it together so it folds up into suitcase fashion. But what I really think is cool about this is if you look at this, these legs that come out on most of these units, this one has an adjustment on it to give you 45 degrees of angle, plus or minus 5, depending on your latitude. So you get the proper angle to the sun. We're at about 42 degrees here. So that angle should give me the optimum angle to the sun to be able to collect light for this unit. All right, so there's our panel sitting out in the sun. We're at about 11:15 right now. And it should be at the right angle. We're facing directly out in the sun. So we'll see what it's putting into the unit. All right, so we got a 120 watt solar panel out there. We're only putting in 66 watts. Bear in mind, we do have some haze over the sun right now with some serious cloud cover. So we don't have full direct sun, but we're still getting 65 watts into this thing. So at 65 watts on a 600 watt unit, you're talking 9 hours from 0 to full. That's my calculation. If it's wrong, so I'm sure somebody's going to let me know. But at any rate, right now, we're putting in more than we're taking out. And that's really one of the key things as far as solar charging goes. Would be better off if we're not drawing as much as we're putting in. That way we're always gaining along the way. Now we have no idea what's going on with this unit, but we can see that by looking at the app. However, we know that this bottom unit is at 92% charge right now. Okay, so I've got a small KitchenAid food processor here, something you may carry in a camper or have out with you camping or overlanding to process food or fruit, things like that, to make a smoothie or whatever you're doing in the morning with the wife. I've got it plugged into the AC. We got 54 watts going in right now, which is really not a whole lot of consequence with things, but let's see what happens when we turn this on. As we've got this turning, this thing is showing us exactly how many hours of life we have in that battery if we leave this in constant mode. Obviously, something like this is going to be very quick and done, so it's not going to draw a lot off this battery. But it's a good example for you of how this indicator will tell you what's going on and tell you how many watts you're drawing, how many hours you've got left on that battery at constant draw at that rate, and things like that. All right, let's get something with the tail end on it here. Let's get this big old barn fan running off this dude. This thing is huge, all right? It's gonna draw a lot of power. Let's plug this dude in and see what happens. All right, so this is where we're at with the barn fan. We're drawing 466 watts out of that dude. Only putting in 72 with the panels. It says at this rate, this battery's gonna last 2.5 hours. Okay, so here's what the Bluetti app looks like, and it's just a free app that you can download from the App Store. And what it's doing right now is it's showing me the main unit. It's got 40 watts coming in from the panels. I've got a little bit of tree obstruction going on right now. And I'm not using anything from the AC or the DC, and I've got the DC turned on. Now I can go to the battery pack, and it will show me the status of that as well. It's at 91%. Now we can do the same thing with this. When we plug something into it, it's gonna tell us what our output is, and it's gonna tell us what's coming in. So we can look at this app from anywhere and control it and not be at the mercy of being right next to the unit to see what's going on. And to also control our AC, DC outputs, things like that, we can do from here as well. You can see they're both turned off. As soon as you turn one of them on, it lights up to tell you what the draw is, which right now, again, there's none. So we'll put something on there and we'll look at that on the phone so you can see that. Okay, so I plugged this food processor back in real quick so I could show you on this unit the way it shows the draw. So if you were using this unit in some kind of a recreational capacity and you weren't right next to the unit and you've got constant draw on it, you can look at your phone and tell where everything's at, how much draw, how much power, how much solar panel power is coming in to recharge the battery, all of that stuff without being anywhere near the unit, as long as you're in Bluetooth range. And I think that's a really good feature of this setup. All right, guys, well, I appreciate you joining me today out here for this quick look and review of this new Bluetti stackable unit. I think there's some innovative ideas within this setup. I think it lends itself well to both camping, overlanding, and RV camping and things like that. It is a convenient setup to be able to just take a single battery pack with you and not have to take the whole unit if you don't want to. And along with the new app from Bluetti that allows you to keep check on what the unit's doing and how well it's charging or discharging is also a huge bonus to me. Guys, I'll put links down below in the description box to any early bird specials, discounts, deals, things like that. Again, I'm not getting anything out of that. It's all for you. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, for our business, all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.